JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding Wednesday, February 25th, 3:32. This Friday afternoon talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P in the green again. A far cry, it seems, was the big great sell-off of 2028. Joking aside, that little blog post or what have you, that sell-off, it seems like it's far away in the rearview mirror. Anyway, take a look at the SPY up 0.8%. SPY's at 692, almost 693 here. Been flirting at the 693 handle ahead of NVDA earnings. 27 minutes. Actually, it'll be what usually comes out maybe 4:05. Uh, Certainly going to be important earnings. I mean, you can't say it's not. It's just, to me, it's always the market reaction, and someone's going to find something. You hope there's not a lot of times, right? You'll see huge beat and raise or big miss, right, in the market, and the stock will do the reverse of what you would think it would do, and then 15 minutes later, it'll say, oh, it was something in the guidance, some big order, some big customer who's not there anymore. They didn't mention this, so it'll be some kind of little small item that no one's looking at. And I hope that's not what it comes down to today after the close. To me, I hope a monster beat and raise like they've always done. Jensen still spins out his bullish stance, and we can go on. The market can go on its merry way, and we can keep churning along. Right. The fear would be there would be some hiccup. Right. That's kind of where we're at the point with these earnings. NVIDIA, if there's some like hiccup in what he says, a hiccup in remarks, whether it be any forward-looking statements, things like that, then I get a little. Then we might things might get interesting. But anyway, good stuff here today. 692 on 693 on the SPY. Trying to think of some of the other things today, and it's just start. It's like sometimes people are pulling for stories to instill fear in the market. I keep thinking, and like the big picture is like, besides the GDP read on Friday, the economy is doing strong. Right, it's doing stronger than folks have been anticipating since last April. You look inflation, which was supposed to be continuing to be hot, has cooled down on a year-over-year basis to 4-year lows. So there's all these different things on the the grand scheme of things, the big overview of the market and the economy. Everything looks great. So all these little stories that pop up are kind of like just sideshows and opportunities for these polls. And at some point, maybe we'll have larger polls. I still open that possibility or probability. If we do have some kind of reversal today after the close, and I have no hedges after the close, right? And it's not like I'm not holding a lot of positions. So typically, more so than not, when you have a hedges to protect something, a lot of times I'll call them hedges, but they're puts. I don't have anything for their earnings after close because I think there'll be opportunities tomorrow regardless. So all right, so that's my little rant. Friday we get PCE data, so we'll see how things play out. But anyway, quick on individual names. First, obviously, I can't start the rant without GLW. Just another a monster move here today. I would finally a decent percentage. It was actually up 7% earlier. Just it's at 160 right now as I'm talking. I mean, if you could have scripted this week and last week, just monster stuff, right? Starting from Friday. So, I could sit here and have regrets for selling my 150s from 45 cents. I mean, well, they hit $12 earlier. So instead of, 850%, 2,000% counting, you never know, right? And that's the thing with the market. Just so many times I've had situations where, you didn't take the profits, right? And you can't fault yourself taking profits, especially on big gains like that. But then on the flip side, I always talk about the hardest part with trading options is the holds. I wouldn't say it's the hardest part, but it's the hardest part when you're looking for big gains to take a position that's up 800%. And GLW could be $180 by Friday, right? And then you start talking 45 into $30 options at least. But same token, I'm kind of happy with the move. Take the profits, still holding other positions. So yeah, all right. So anyway, so those are off the table, and then I took some more strikes off just to kind of, I called a harvest day, right? So took some of those 215 strikes, which if you had told me yesterday that the 215s were 100% today, I'd say what? And I'm like, is stock at 170? No, the premiums continue to ramp up in tandem with the stock. So good stuff. Lock some of those in, so those are risk free. And then I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the March 150s, and they're like $16, $17. I'm like, I gotta take some more off. So I took some more off at, I guess, 17.50, and then I'll just continue to hold. And I'm looking around. I'm like, is there other strikes I'm bullish on? Like where I could Yeah, 1740, and then the 215s. All right. So what other scenarios play out? Is is there going to be news? So if there's news on GLW in regards to an update on some new deals, the multiple deals or whatever, it's almost like I think it's the point where it might be like a sell the news event, right? And if that's the case, then there'll be another opportunity to add some more strikes. So just going to hold the calls, moral of the story, go from there. Monster, hopefully it continues. You saw my fuzzy math, right? I mean, people ask me where I think it's going to go. I I think you make a fair case that it's a $240 stock, and not much else has to happen. There'll be two other deals at least, right? So four deals optimum, 250. That I think that would be a foregone conclusion. And then does it catch FOMO? Is there other outside forces at play? If the market goes bonkers, does it go up to $300? Does it go to are you talking a double from here? 300 billion market cap, does it go 350? Can't rule these things out, right? And the not the worst thing, because it's already been a great trade, but don't want to miss out on that if it happens. So now we're in position to take advantage of that. It dips on the sell the news, okay, and then go from there. All right, so that's GLW. Finally added some more serve strikes. The story here on Serve Robotics. 33% of its market cap right now is tied in cash, right? Crazy stuff. I think they throw off $35 million in operating expenses a quarter, right? So they lose 30, I think it's somewhere in there. Or maybe it's 18 million. I think they lose, I don't know what their operating expenses are. Trying to, I'll have to go look that up. Just doing the math. So their existing cash flow was 310. They did that acquisition, 20 some million. Then you tie in their operating expenses. So it leaves you about, I don't know, 270. It just leaves 33% of market cap tied in cash. Then you do the math on the rest of the business that's growing over 1,000%. So it just boggles my mind that it is not substantially higher. So earlier today, you had news out that supposedly, I guess the Commerce Department's going to talk to robotic companies. I don't know what that looks like. Imagine any kind of rumor of a stake from the government and Serve. I don't know. Crazy stuff. So got some March strikes. I'll continue to look for opportunities to trade that for upside. I think their earnings are March 10th or March 3rd. That. All right. So that would be the next possible catalyst. So that's that. And other names I'm watching, right? I mean, Kava. Gosh, I had the $53 calls on Kava back in December. And there was, I'm trying to think where the story might have been in Barron's, right? And, it's a high multiple name. People kind of falling out of favor of these bowl food options. People getting all this stuff in a bowl. Not a fan. That's not my go-to, right? I'll go for burritos. But anyway, high growth story. You see them. I mean, I'm not someone who, not in the city much, but I've seen a lot of them in the city. I haven't frequented one. I haven't had their food, but it's a great story. Anyway, moral of the story. I mean, great. The stocks got destroyed, huge short interest, and then it started to come back to life in the winter, and then boom, a monster report yesterday, like monster. I don't even know how to explain it. It's up 25%. I'm like, this might go over $90. So not going to get strikes here, but don't be surprised if I do some lottos there. Looking at Reddit, the 165s look interesting. They're like 20 cents. Again, might be an opportunity to trade it tomorrow morning. So it's one of those names that always pulls me in. And you start looking at the chart. I mean, it was flat as a pancake yesterday. It might need a kick. I don't know if it'll be an upgrade, some catalyst. So that's another name I'm always watching, but don't be surprised before the bell close. I'll get some of those. Roblox hitting highs here. Highs in a session, $68. Frustrating Roblox, right? Looked great yesterday. My calls come back to life. Opened kind of flat, then a little disappointing after the open, then just floundering. I guess the best word to describe the action. Want to get some more strikes, but still have the 72s. They were close to green, back in the red, close to green again. It gets into the 70s, those will gain premium quickly. So I'll probably just hold those into tomorrow. Have plenty of time on those. Take a look at Clear Secure, right? Gosh, that thing's up 38% today, $46. I always say, right? Never wrong, just early, right? Gosh. So use one of those frustrating stocks. There's another one of those highly shorted names. Very easy to make a bear case on it, right? And I've talked about, I shouldn't say no, right? You do this long enough, you connect the dots, and there's definitely shorts who have connections with reporters. And Charlie Grant used to be the guy in Wall Street Journal the Bears had on Trupanion and Tesla, and some of these other stocks. Same thing goes for Bloomberg. And they did these big bear pieces on Clear Secure, and it worked, right? These folks probably made tons of money. But frustrating because when you're in the call side and the stock has a monster beat and raise, which Clear always does, and it tumbles after earnings, you know they're behind the scenes, right? It's like the hold on. Whoops. Okay. I'm trying to think of some good analogies to describe it. It's like the puppet master, right? Uh, the Wizard of Oz, right? The guy who control. Anyway, so not I would say I'm frustrated. I was looking actually at the start of the week because supposedly what TSA pre-check was getting shut down from because of the shutdown. I'm like, wow, it's a great opportunity for folks who normally don't have an option, wouldn't look at an option like Clear Secure. Uh, Here's a chance for them to get customers, right? Should have got the earnings. So I go to look at the calls. They're expensive because they have earnings. I'm like, I'll wait. Sure enough, one of the times I missed earnings. All right, rants for other days. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. I think that's it. I keep getting people ask me about PayPal. I hope it goes to the moon. It's another one of those frustrating names. Like it's a $60, $70, $80 stock. It's at $47. Does not make sense to me. That's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.